So I don't like being wrong, and these two, better than anyone, will tell you that I don't like being wrong. But for once, I'm glad that all my complaining last week has paid off. Detroit has rattled off 5 straight wins, and for the first time in a while, basically since DeBrincat couldn't stop scoring in 2023, I am proud to say that I'm a Red Wings fan. We are back with you for another week. I know this is a delayed episode. We're supposed to come out on weekends. Blame my two co-hosts. And we have 5 games to recap for you. Best moments of the week are going to be talked about. And we're going to get into our week MVPs and some of our favorite moments from the week. As always, of course, I am your host, Alexander de Berardinis.
I am your other host, Shola Shole.
And I'm the third host, Stefan Malov.
After the Montreal game, Detroit goes into a home and home against the Leafs. Game one starts a lot like the Montreal game. I mean, Detroit pushes well. They have a really good start. They're getting some looks up ice, but they find themselves down 2-0 at the hands of Kelly Yarncrow and a Nick Raw tip-in. And it felt like a lot of the same. I mean, 2 goals that you'd like to be stopped, but you ultimately don't blame on Cam Talbot go in. But I mean, this time you really saw a difference. Detroit didn't give up. They kept pushing, and eventually in the second period, Anthony Stolarz, the dam broke, and Detroit made it 3-2 before too long. And it was a really good game, I think, from the top 9. The bottom line played okay, but you really saw that Cobb, Comfort, and MBN line. While they didn't score, they extended possession really well, which is something that you want to see from a team that's struggled with retaining the puck. I mean, they kept the puck in the offensive zone a lot. And the top 6 did a lot of the damage. I mean, Kane had one hell of a game. We are definitely on the younger side, so we really have to think hard to some of those like MVP Kane years. But I mean, it doesn't make it too hard to get a reminder when Kane goes out and has a game like this. He scores on a one-timer from DeBrincat, sets up Casper and Raymond beautifully. Detroit comes away with a 6-3 win. It's a flattering score because they get a couple empty netters, but ultimately at the end of it, I mean, they look really steady throughout, and 6-3 feels like the right score because it feels like Anthony Stolarz kept a couple off the board that he probably shouldn't have saved. So it was a good result and a good bounce back from the team. And you could tell that the room had some good energy coming out of that one, which was good news going into the Monday game. So Cam Talbot, who played well in the first game against Toronto, I mean, he gets the second start on the Monday game, and this was very much just Cam Talbot. I mean, Detroit was heavily outshot and, for all intents and purposes, outplayed for pretty much 60 minutes. And Cam Talbot looked rock solid. I mean, similar to what we saw at the start of last year, I mean, games that Detroit really shouldn't be in, Cam Talbot was kind of willing Detroit to have a chance in them. And for a large part of this game, he did. Around halfway through the game, though, Lucas Raymond takes a check from Chris Tanev. No penalty on the play. It felt like a textbook boarding call that got missed. It was a hit in Raymond against the boards. It looked like a shoulder injury. Speculation immediately was kind of rampant. I saw people saying it was like he would come back that same game, and other people thought he was going to be out like 6 to 8 weeks. But it was Mason Appleton who was playing fourth line right wing, so he played the least time on ice in that game, and he got shot up to the first line. And with a minute left, he's not exactly a noted goal scorer, but falling over, Mason Appleton pots the game winner. Past Anthony Stolarz to steal one back from Toronto. I mean, goals from Larkin, Van Riemsdyk, and Appleton. It's nice to see that the depth scoring did help in this game marginally, if you count Appleton as depth scoring, even though he was on the top line. It was nice to see a result go Detroit's way, especially one that the horses didn't have to carry the wagon the whole time. And a big result for Cam Talbot. I mean, you don't want a performance like that to be in vain, and they get one for Cam.
Um, since this guy's been waffling on for a couple minutes now, I'll take on the next game. I watched this game, the game against Florida on I think it was Wednesday last week. Um, it was a very dominant win. in my opinion, when we were talking about it last week in last week's episode, I thought they would get smacked. And I was talking with Alex. I was like, okay, yeah, they're going to get smacked. But honestly, I was happy with this game. Cam Talbot, he probably was um the man of the match in this game. With his steady performance, only letting a goal in that really you can't really blame him for. Um, but the rest of the game, Appleton, he was on the top line since Raymond was out, and he continued his scoring. Patrick Kane, I think he got 2 goals in that game, so he was
He had
continuing.
the one power play goal.
Yeah,
The one
yeah, and we got to talk about those power. We're going to talk about that later in the episode with the power plays. And we saw a couple power plays for Detroit that game. I think they scored on 2 power plays, if I'm not mistaken. But it might have only been that Kane goal on that power play on that 5-on-3. Um, but yeah, no, you could. There's no really complaints I can give for that game, um, except for maybe the goal. But like again, like there's nothing really wrong with that. Like you can expect a goal or two to come out of that game from Florida because they're that good of a team. However, um, everything else, like you see, Mason Appleton is continuing his trying to fit Lucas Raymond's shoes as he was out or skates. Um, and Cam Talbot still doing his thing after that Toronto game where he was playing pretty well, and actually both Toronto games where he played pretty well, and you continued his reign in goal, and there's really nothing else I can say about that game.
Yeah, it was a
That
good top
everything
to
else is great.
bottom effort. I think you saw, especially from the blue line. I mean, I think if you want to say Talbot stole the game in Toronto, I mean, I think the defense really took this game in Florida. They were getting in front of a ton of shots. I mean, you saw Ben Sherrod, who's not really known as a guy who's gonna not put his body on the line, like he does play physical, but even Ben Sherrod looked like a top pairing defenseman. And Trent Yanni really seems to be squeezing 110% out of this blue line, which is exactly what you want from a coaching staff. I mean, strategy can only go so far until you need to get more out of your players, and they did. I mean, really, all 1 through 6 look good. Sider had a good game. I can't pick a defenseman who looked bad. ASB had some rookie mistakes, but that's to be expected. I mean, you take the good with the bad, and I think this game really cemented the blue line for me. Like, I haven't had faith in a Red Wings blue line since like 2012. So it's been a hot minute before I think Detroit's defense core has looked good, and they've been able to put 3 pairings out there. But they really, like, for the first time in a while, again, I was not worried that they were going to be under siege at any point with even the Johansson Bernard Docker pairing out there, and that's a really big step for this team. After that game, Detroit goes into Tampa Bay. And this is one that I thought they were losing. Like, when I was preparing for the episode in my head, like before the game even started, I was like, they're probably going to win 3 and lose 1, but it's fine. It's a tough slate. Did they deserve to lose this game? It's close. Through the first 30 minutes of the game, Detroit looked like the better team. I wouldn't say they were dominating, but they were in the driver's seat pretty comfortably. And, you know, not too early on in the game, but you finally get ASP breaking through. He takes a wrist shot that bounces off a Tampa Bay player's stick and finds its way behind a very good goaltender in Andre Vasilevsky to break the deadlock. And you could see by his reaction that was a huge goal for him, and even the team just jumping on him right away. Dylan Larkin picks up an assist there, as he has what seems like all week. And it was a good moment for all of them until the third period, where it was very much John Gibson hold down the fort. He had a bad game against Montreal. We came on here, we complained about it. We talked about how we want to save. Yeah, John Gibson won back the fans with this one very comfortably. Tampa Bay had an expected 3 goals in the third period alone, which is unheard of. And John Gibson held them to 1. And it was the 18th shot of the period that broke him. It was a fantastic game from John Gibson, and Detroit getting it to overtime was a one-man effort. And again, in overtime, it was a game they probably shouldn't win. I mean, Gensel and Point had a lot of good looks, but eventually a missed pass goes by, and Dylan Larkin, with nothing left in the tank after a long shift, gets the puck on the boards. And Dylan Larkin is not a forward that you're catching if you're behind him. It doesn't matter how late in a shift he is. He is that fast. Takes a couple strides, and the same snapshot he's used for what feels like his entire career beats Vasilevsky. And Detroit comes out with a 2-1 win in a game that they probably don't deserve to win if you look at the third period, but it's a big result nonetheless, and you're very happy with it for Detroit. After that, this is one that I was like, okay, now they're losing this game. They go into Edmonton comes into Detroit, and Tampa Bay came to Detroit as well. Just turn of phrase, I guess. Edmonton comes to Detroit, and this is another one where, you have no Patrick Kane this game. Lucas Raymond comes back, and you needed one of those two to play just because you have zero depth on your right wing. Like, would have had to be another Appleton top line game, which, no, you're not doing that for a whole week. As good as he has played, as much as he has helped, you do need some star power back, and they get it with Raymond, who was very much playing at like 80%. Like, you could tell he wasn't really skating, he wasn't really taking his shots. He still managed to pick up 2 points in this game, and it's a game where Detroit is again comfortably in the driver's seat thanks to the defensive play. Like, Edmonton is a team that went to the Cup Finals 2 years in a row. Again, pretty much the 1 and 2 best players in the world in Draisaitl and McDavid. And you pretty much, you kept McDavid off the scoreboard completely, and Draisaitl had a couple nice chances, but ultimately couldn't get one to go. Gibson looked okay, but it was really your defense just suffocating and limiting chances. And huge credit to Dylan Larkin defensively. This is still a guy who's getting the toughest deployments of any forward in the NHL. He has, the other team's top line is his cross to bear. And again, no one on this team is faster than Larkin, and very few players in the league can skate with McDavid. And to hold him to 0 points is something. But on the offensive end, this was Dylan Larkin and Emmitt Finnie willing Detroit through this game. Larkin 2 goals. Finnie gets his first of his career. Raymond tacks on 2 assists. The line combines for a massive 9 points in the game. Like, you really don't see that every day. And all offseason, you're talking about who's going to play left wing with Larkin and Raymond. And I think this game, Finnie has proved that he's going to stay up there, at least for the foreseeable future. And after this game, you get a couple really nice milestones for the team. Finnie, with the 2 goals, is now tied for the rookie scoring lead with 5 points. Tied with 2 defensemen, which is interesting. But 5 points in 6 games for a rookie is nothing to sneeze at. Marco Kasper won a couple games before he got to 5. And Larkin takes all 4 points that were available, part of an absolutely massive week for Dylan Larkin that we're going to get into and talk about some more as this one goes on. So that's our week recap, and now we're going to get into some of our major talking points, players, and units that kind of stood out to us.
Yeah, so the first player we wanted to highlight, as Alex just said it at the Edmonton game, is Emmitt Finnie. He played wonderfully this week in the 5 games that we saw. You saw, as Alex said, 5 points in 6 games. Like, as a rookie coming into the league doing that, it's like there's a lot to praise. I think he's making his presence felt in that top line. Working with Larkin and Raymond. And even when Raymond comes out and what's his name? Mason Appleton comes in, and he's moving around, he's making things happen with that line. I think he got an assist on that Mason Appleton goal, if
I think he
I
picked up.
might have been.
I don't know which one, though. It was across one of the 2 games. But yeah, Finnie's
Yeah.
been, and he's doing it physically too. Like, he's not, for a rookie, he's not shying away from contact. He's going to the boards. He's playing high motor hockey, which is huge for this Detroit team. You've seen some really limp players get up onto that top line. Last year, like Joe Veleno had shifts there, and Michael Rasmussen did too. But again, Finnie's really playing downhill hockey. He's always skating to pucks, and you can see with his stick work is really mature for a forward at his age. His checking and his defensive play is really tight, and he's able to hang with that defensive responsibility of the top line, which is something that not every forward can do, and especially is a lot to ask of a rookie. So, I mean, we're enthralled with Finnie's play through however many games he has been.
Yeah, so that especially I want to highlight that Edmonton game. Obviously, he got the 2 goals in that game. He got a 1 assist on the Larkin goal. Like as Alex said, like he's the way he's playing and the way he's passing, he's checking, he's scoring, all the things you can praise about as a rookie. Like there's really no bad takeaways we had of him as we were talking about this week. Like I was talking with Alex and Stefan. Obviously, we talk about every game, we talk every day about the Red Wings. Like the players we were talking about that we're all going to talk about this week. Like Finnie came up in conversation multiple times. Like we saw great things out of him, and like we use the word hope a lot, but like I can't even use the word hope anymore because we know he's going to produce. Like we think and we know he's going to produce as the season progresses.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of, I guess, refined play for a rookie, and that's a big deal. Like he has some real maturity to his game, and there are some questions about how high the ceiling is for him at Finnie. I don't know that, I think you're asking a lot if you're going to get like a point per game guy out of him, but if you can get a guy who's going to bang and crash on that top line and can be effective in a second power play role, I mean, you're absolutely thrilled with that. And anybody you pick in the 7th round is just huge surplus value if you even get a single game out of them. So Emmitt Finnie being this productive this early is a great sign for this rebuild and especially the top line. But I mean, the guy with all the pressure on him and really, I guess, more eyes was Axel Sandin Pellikka coming into this year, and making the team was already a big deal for him. But he gets his first goal and his first point against Tampa Bay. He's a defenseman that's known for being dynamic and known for having that offense to him. But 1 goal through 5 games doesn't jump out at you, or six games. Sorry, 1 goal through 6 games doesn't jump out at you. But his defensive play has been really steady, which is a huge concern for him. And he has his mistakes. He does need to clean up the turnovers. I think he takes more penalties than he should. There is some learning curve, but that's with every young defenseman in the NHL. And he's playing a pretty big role. I mean, you've seen veterans try to do this for Detroit, like Jeff Petrie has been in that top 4 role. Justin Hall's got minutes there. Guys who have been around the league have been net negatives at the position, and rookie Sandin Pellikka, warts and all, has been a huge plus. And you're really looking for him to find his confidence a little bit more. And that's not to say he's not playing with any confidence, but it does look like Todd McClellan used the word riding the brake. It does look like ASP's riding the brake a little bit and not really kind of flexing his muscles on offense as much. Like you're not really seeing the pivots, the stops, the shots, the passes through traffic. As the season goes on, I think when he feels like he's solidified a spot in this lineup, he'll be more willing to do that. But I don't know that there's any doubt in my mind that he's going to be a Red Wing all year, which, again, is more than I thought I'd be able to say for ASP in the preseason and especially in the offseason. I mean, I didn't see him getting this far in training camp or preseason getting onto the roster like this at all.
Me and Alex talked about it. First episode, we were talking about if any of the rookies were going to make it. Obviously, MBN, Finnie, and ASP all made the team. And then last episode, I was also talking about him. I gave him my player of the week as a defenseman that week. Um, so like we were all talking about ASP and Finnie, like those 2 rookies this week, and obviously he gets his first goal this week. His defensive work, like you can praise. I don't think when he's on, I don't think he's getting scored on that much. So like you can praise him in that role that he's playing. And as you said, he does have a big role as a rookie, and we hope that this, I'm going to use the word hope again. We do hope that he does continue that defensive work. Puts in all of like he puts pressure on the forwards that he plays against and all the teams he plays against. Helps out John Gibson or Cam Talbot, whoever plays, because I really don't know who's going to play. I think it's probably going to be John Gibson still now because he's been playing a good bit, some good hockey recently. But honestly, like out of all the defensemen that I've been watching this week and all the games, like ASB has stood out the most, and how like he's moving around. As you said, he's in an offensive. He's really an offensive defenseman, but like he still works defensively more than he has been offensively during the first 6 games. So we know that he's going to continue that to put in that work. He's going to get more goals. I'm calling it. He's getting 2 goals this week, or net, or within the month. I can
Within
see
the
it, or a
month,
couple
within the month, I
within the
think it's
month,
possible.
maybe 2 points this week. That's going to be my prediction for this week for him. But
Okay,
like, I
I like
really
that.
see some, I really see some good work out of ASP, and I hope he continues it for the rest throughout the rest of the week.
Yeah, I mean, he's been one of the biggest stories of the season. I mean, in the offseason, Detroit's looking for a top four defenseman. They find one internally, which is a big deal. And I mean, let's call a spade here. I mean, we talked about Finnie and ASP. Like, those are good stories. The rookies are good stories. And MBN is a good story, too. We didn't really, not to say ho hum, but he hasn't had a huge moment this week where we're going to give him too much time. But he's been doing his thing, physical hockey, grit and grind. I don't think he's had too many high danger chances, but it'll come. Again, he's not playing in the advantageous positions that a Finnie or an ASP is. So we'll kind of hold our breath for MBN for another week at least. But this team very much has been just Dylan Larkin this week. And I don't want that to sound reductionary to anyone else, but this is someone who was dragging Detroit kicking and screaming this week. Like, there was very much one guy in all these games. I mean, Dylan Larkin picks up 11 points in 6 games on this season. And you see it in the Edmonton game. Like, yeah, Emmitt Finney's playing great. Yeah, Mason Appleton's playing great. Yeah, Lucas Raymond is playing great again and was playing great before. Those have probably been the best 4 Red Wings forwards this week. And the only trend with all of them is that they've been around Dylan Larkin. I mean, you're seeing a version of Larkin that you really haven't seen in years, where Dylan Larkin is kind of the only guy that you're looking to when he's on the ice. And he's doing it in the faceoff dot. He's pretty much the only Red Wing winning faceoffs right now. It's not uncommon to see him at 60% in the dots, which is ridiculous. He can score, he can pass, he can facilitate. He's probably Detroit's best puck carrier, and he's doing it in ridiculous defensive minutes. I mean, 11 points playing against the other team's top players from his own defensive zone every night is an absurd ask of Dylan Larkin. And he continues to prove that he's going to be a dog in this fight for the Red Wings. And if they want to get into the playoffs, it's going to be all Dylan Larkin. And it's on national notice now. I mean, the NHL gave out their stars of the week, and first star of the week was Dylan Larkin. And if you look at the plus minus, which I know is a flawed stat, but he's a +9, and the only guys above him are Eichel, Stone. Like, they play on the same line in Vegas. Like, Dylan Larkin is tied for 3rd in league scoring as well. Like, you're really seeing a version of Larkin that, whether it's, it's a little bit of chicken and the egg, whether Finnie and Raymond helped unlock that or Dylan Larkin helped unlock Finnie and Raymond, it's unclear. But I think Dylan Larkin he's on pace for a massive season. He's not scoring 150 points. We can, settle that talk down now. But if he can get to 90, that's an unbelievable season from Dylan Larkin, especially given the defense and the faceoffs. You're really looking at him as not just like the leader off the ice, but a leader on the ice, and really dragging teams that have had no business in games into wins.
Yeah, like this dude, Dylan Larkin is like he's unbelievable. Like me and Alex, this guy sends me all of the Detroit Red Wings news and everything that I can't really catch up on because I'm still trying to get into all the hype about the Red Wings and all of that. Every single time I'm watching a game or I'm seeing a notification, it's all Dylan Larkin. And like I'm talking about it in our group chat, and I'm texting Alex every single day. I'm like, this guy is actually unbelievable. 11 points in the first 6 games of the season is on like almost 2 points a game. He's causing almost 2 goals a game for the Red Wings. Is unbelievable. Obviously, he had the winner in Tampa Bay in overtime. He had 2 goals in the Edmonton game. Like it's just the games that I'm watching from him, you can see the impact that he has. And obviously, you said some of it is not all him. You can give some credit to Emmitt Finney, you can give some credit to Lucas Raymond. But at the same time, you have to give most of the credit to Dylan Larkin because if he wasn't there, I don't know how this team would survive for this week. I don't know if they still go 4-0 if Dylan Larkin isn't in the team. So like this man is he's insane. He's incredible. Again, the 150 points is high, but again, like what you said, 90 points, maybe 100 points. If you can get there, man, like you, he's like I literally have no words for him. Like again, his defensive work, his offensive work, his production all around the ice is incredible. So there's nothing really else I can say for him. And the NHL is putting him on notice with that star of the week. So hopefully he continues it up, keeps it up. Like literally nothing else I could say about him.
Yeah, and the raw stats show it. I mean, Edmonton is a 4-2 win. Larkin factors in on all 4 goals. Tampa Bay, they scrape out of. It's a 2-1 win where Dylan Larkin factors in on both goals. And then Florida, the game-winning goal comes on the second goal. The 2 goals up to that point are a Dylan Larkin assist to Mason Appleton and then a Dylan Larkin assist to Patrick Kane. Toronto, the game-winning goal, he gets the assist on the Mason Appleton goal, and he scores the first goal of the game. He didn't factor in on the JVR goal, but other than that, legitimately, Dylan Larkin has been responsible for 3 out of the 5 wins that we're talking about, and you can give him 3.5 because he ties the game on his points alone in Toronto. What he's doing is unbelievable, and if he can keep this up, Detroit is no doubt a playoff team, and he's not going to continue on torrid pace like this, but you're going to see his name in some trophy talks that, you might not have thought of before this. Quick catch up on Lucas Raymond. He, obviously we don't really do midweek episodes, but in the middle of the week, he went down with a shoulder injury. He's back. Edmonton, again, I mentioned, was like an 80% kind of game from him. He wasn't skating too hard, wasn't playing too overly physical. And he's still got 2 points. So it's a good sign that Raymond's back on the ice, back playing. Doesn't look like the injury's too bad. And Detroit has 2 games of rest before they're playing again. So he can pick up some health, hopefully, and should be back to his game in time for the back-to-back coming up. Really quickly want to talk about Mo Seider. His deployment's been eased a lot. I mean, he's gone from basically being a sacrificial lamb, is the way that I saw it described on Twitter, to a steady number 1 defenseman. He hasn't been asked to cover the NHL's best players in his defensive zone all the time. He's been kind of used freely, and that's really more to say of the third pair and Bernard Docker and Albert Johansson being able to take on some nice minutes. So good to see Seider's role eased, and hopefully he can continue playing great into March and the later months of the season. And hopefully if we get to the playoffs, Seider will be a little more fresh for it. But we do got to give some love to the goalies this week. I mean, we talk about Dylan Larkin keeping you in games. You don't get very far without Cam Talbot and John Gibson. Both of them had some star-studded performances, like real rock star shit from Cam Talbot. I mean, rattling off 3 straight wins against playoff teams, highly regarded playoff teams. Again, rock star shit from Talbot, stealing you a game. And Gibson bouncing back for all intents and purposes, stealing a game as well. Like, real rock star shit from the goalies. I mean, what were you guys seeing from them?
I'm gonna go, and it's the point. You go. Honestly, Cam Talbot, like he for me, obviously he played more games than John Gibson. He played 3. John Gibson played 2 this week. But Cam Talbot, like serious, like he was steady. Like some of the goals, like again, like the ones against Toronto, like you hoped some of them you saved the first game, but you hope some of them you saved. Well, like you can't really blame it on him. The other game against Toronto, you can say that he was, you even said in the notes, like he stole the win for the Red Wings. Like he was solid, and they got outshot that game. Like he was solid that game, especially and in the game against Florida, you could like there was nothing bad you can say about Cam Talbot in that game. That goal, obviously, you hope that he saves it. You hope he saves all goals for the Red Wings, and he just gets shut off every single game. But like a 4-1 win in where Florida gets chance after chance, especially in that second period, they were getting chance after chance after chance. and you saw Cam Talbot was steady, he was solid, he wasn't letting anything through. Obviously, you can give more credit to the defensive pairing. Any of the defensive pairings, honestly, all the defense in that game played great. Um, but like Cam Talbot in that game played great. There's no backlash. There's no words I can say for him. No harsh words I can say for him. And then honestly, I thought Cam Talbot would play the entire week. When I saw that in the Tampa Bay game that John Gibson was playing, I was like, oh, okay. And then he came back and he was actually really, really solid. Like as Alex said, Alex texted me saying that he was back, um, saying all the things about Cam Talbot. And I was like, okay, sorry, not Cam Talbot, John Gibson. He's like, okay, he's back. Like after that Montreal game, I was like, oh, okay, like they're paying all this money for him to be the number one. He played that poorly in their first game, and then he comes back and he does that game against Tampa and the game against Edmonton, where the goals again that you expect him to save or you want him to save, but they ultimately go through. With the rest of the game, he's playing pretty solid. He's standing his ground. He's moving. He's playing the puck to his defenders. He's saving with his glove. He's saving with his legs. He's moving around. He's getting his positioning right. So like, there's nothing bad he can say about the goalies this week. I think both of them played great, and honestly, you can lean on anyone at this point to play a full game and be great for the entire 60 minutes.
I really have nothing much else to say. I've been very quiet this episode just because there's everything is just being said, and I don't know. I don't have much to add.
Shocker.
Yes, I know. I have no idea when to jump in or whatnot. But again, everything what Shola said. The Talbot played. The Toronto game was the one that I didn't watch the Florida game that much, but watching the Toronto game, seeing Red Wings get like outshot and whatnot, but like what's it called? Talbot staying steady and like keeping his stance. It was really nice to see that, and the bounce back from Gibson was also very refreshing to see. It almost feels like that he listened to the episode and
Yeah.
and he locked in. He
Yeah. I
locked
cannot
into
imagine a world where John Gibson is listening to this. And, if he is, my bad, Beast. You played great.
yeah. But yeah, there's really nothing much I can add about the goalies. The goalies, I most definitely agree are like the other than like Daniel Larkin, like they're like the MVPs. Did I miss? They're like the MVPs of this week. Dylan Larkin, not Daniel Larkin. My fault.
Fantastic work. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, with that, I mean, the penalty kill this week goes perfect. And last season, the penalty kill was the worst it has been in NHL history in the modern era. I don't care about the 70s when the Kings had a bad penalty kill. That's not real hockey. They were using wood sticks and they didn't bend. But for the penalty kill to go perfect on the week is huge because even in the preseason, we were talking about how bad the penalty kill looked. So I don't know. I don't want to say miraculously, but it's very out of nowhere that the penalty kill bucked up and really kind of came out as a strength of this team. I mean, they're up there among the league's best right now, and I know it's still early. There's still plenty of time for things to plateau, but even if it goes down from the 90% it's at right now to 80%, that's still a huge win for this team. And you absolutely take it for what it is. And it's really working from all three units. I mean, the goaltenders are making saves on the penalty kill, which they weren't doing last year. The defense is doing a good job. They're playing a little bit of that Lalonde hockey where we'll give you the shots, but as long as they're from low danger areas, which is working well for them. And the forwards are doing a good job facilitating that. They seem very comfortable clearing up puck. They're getting the body on the line, blocking shots. So the penalty kill is a nice story that's come out of this week among many nice stories, but I don't want it to be overshadowed about how much of a step that is. Now to get to some, not doom and gloom, but, I don't want to get too positive too early. If you couldn't tell, I wouldn't say I'm a voice of positivity. There was still something that I kind of thought was a problem in this lineup, especially this week. this team's depth scoring still isn't really helping in games. Again, when we were talking about Dylan Larkin, I kind of, talked about it indirectly. But Dylan Larkin and his running mates have kind of shouldered the offense every single game. There's obviously been some help here and there, but outside of the top six, you have pretty much the Van Riemsdyk goal, and I'm not going to count the Appleton goals because they were all while he was with Larkin. But you haven't gotten anything from Andrew Kopp or JT Comfer aside from a Kopp empty netter. You really need the depth scoring to start helping out in games like this because you're cutting it close. Like pretty much in all of these games, the net's been empty for the other team at one point. And I get it, they're good teams, but Toronto pulls their goalie at the end of the game because it was close 4-3. Toronto again pulls their goalie in the 3-2 game because it was close. Tampa Bay didn't have to pull their goalie, but it went to overtime. Again, another close game. And Edmonton pulled the goalie because it was 3-2. A depth goal in any of those games kind of gives you a bit more of a cushion than you've had in any of these. And this bottom six really should not be this bad for scoring. And, not to put any pressure on him early, but Casper's off to a pretty slow start. I mean, he only has 1 goal through 6 games. You want to see more from the bottom 9, really. Like, I get it. Patrick Kane's out for, I want to call it the foreseeable future. I don't know when he's coming back, but it shouldn't be too long, but I don't have a prediction for that. This team needs depth scoring. This team needs scoring from their second line as well. Like, I get it, the power play hasn't been out there that much, but DeBrincat really should have a goal by now. I get it, he's had looks. Casper, you need to have more than 1 point. Kane was playing fantastic before he went out. I think he was one of the main guys who was kind of keeping the bottom 9 in it. But that Cop Comfer MBN line, like, I think it is time for it to split up. As good as it's been at extending possession and forechecking, they just haven't been producing offensively. They've got a couple looks, but I just don't see it working. And the Cop and JVR duo that we saw in this Edmonton game looked really good together. I mean, they were playing with Michael Rasmussen, who's not going to help you score any goals. But if you put a guy like maybe Elmer Soderblom on that line or put JVR on the left side and get maybe Jonathan Berggren in there, I think there's a chance that could work, get you a couple goals, and you free up MBN and Comfort to kind of get some different looks, different line mates. Again, maybe that's a line that pairs well with Berggren. You kind of need a facilitator for MBN, and you don't have that in spades per se right now. I think Berggren's kind of your only one, but you need some depth scoring. And when Kane gets back, I think pressure's really on to DeBrincat and Casper to kind of drag up that second line because we really should not have Emmitt Finnie being our second best scorer right now.
Yeah. Like as you said, I think you're putting too much pressure on that top line in terms of just like creating as a whole. Like you saw Dylan Larkin had an incredible week. Emmitt Finnie had an incredible week. Really, like Lucas Raymond had a week before he went out, and he came back and he still had a good end to his week. And as you said, Mason Appleton, you can't really count his goals because he's on the top line as he was scoring those goals. And like obviously the other player you were talking about just now was Patrick Kane and how he had a good performance before he went out. But the rest of the team, the Brinket definitely should have a goal. I've seen him hit the post and the crossbar too many times for him not to have a goal. Marco Casper, you'd expect him to have more than 1 goal, as you said. And then the bottom 6, um, apart from the empty netters, as you said, for the week, like you'd expect more from that MBN Comper Cop line. I know they're really primarily out there to be checking and booting up like more defensive work than more offensive work, but like you still expect them to put some type of offensive pressure on a team to the point where like you don't have to focus on them coming out and then the Larkin line coming back in for them to be any type of chance of scoring, you know? So and that last line, as you said, that JVR goal, obviously he scored as well, but like you still expect more out of that bottom line and that third line with Comfort Cop and MBN, and you just like you there's too much reliance and pressure on that Larkin line and a little bit on the Kane line, but like not as much as that Larkin line to first scoring. And you need some more creative creative work and more offensive chances in those bottom two lines for them to keep up the good work that they're producing with these scores.
Yeah, and I think the answer is I think the writing's on the wall a little bit for the bottom six, and you're gonna have to hit the line blender. Like I think you do have the right pieces there. I think a shuffle will go a long way. Like I would take Comfort down to the fourth line just because Rasmussen cannot play center, and we've seen that experiment fail for a half decade now. Rasmussen is just not a good center at this point. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think JVR has a bigger role on this team than he's had. Like he looked very comfortable with Andrew Kopp, and if you can find a line mate for that, that's great news. But yeah, while Patrick Kane's out for a while, you're kind of holding your breath for depth scoring right now, and that's not how it wants to be. And Todd McClellan and the coaching staff have done nothing but kind of do right by the eye test. And the problems that you see are the problems that they've seemed to fix. And you've seen that the penalty kill has been much better, and the defense has been much better, and the goaltending has been much better. Um, right now, while the bottom six is a weakness, you're almost sure that he's going to kind of squeeze blood from a stone a little bit and get those guys going however he needs to. So while I do have faith that is kind of the glaring weakness right now, and you hope it gets better. As for the news side of things, before we give out our MVPs and our best moment of the week, Kane, as we mentioned, is out for a little bit. He was celebrating on the ice after the Tampa Bay win, the game that he went out, but he did then miss the Edmonton game, and there's varying reports and a lot of nuance about his absence, so you really don't know where he's going to be playing uh, in this next week. You hope he's ready to go for his hometown Buffalo, but if he's not, I'd imagine he sits out both games of the back-to-back. So again, fingers crossed there, but yeah, Kane out. And then as for the trade block, this was kind of something we could have touched on last week as these have kind of been rolled out in waves. Gus, Hall, Hamonic, and Berggren are apparently in trade talks, and this isn't a surprise to anybody. I think Hall and Hamonic, I don't think anyone's touching that with a 10-foot pole. I mean, you know how bad Justin Hall is, and Hamonic in the one game he played looked like an absolute pylon. But I think Eric Gustafson could find a spot on a team, especially one that's kind of in need of some power play help, some offensive help. Maybe a team like Chicago takes him back and kind of gets some offense out of him, or veteran presence helps teach a guy like Vlasic or Rinzel how to facilitate offense from the blue line. So I think Gus has some value in the sense that you could get rid of the contract, but I don't know if you're getting return for him. Berggren's a guy that I think he's kind of biding time until Nate Danielson's healthy, and when Nate Danielson's back, he's going to jump in instead of Berggren. So I imagine Berggren goes. I think he has some trade value. He still leans younger. You might get a mid-round pick for him, but nothing too crazy. And yeah, I think if there was any suitors for these guys, they would have been dealt by now. So the fact that they're still here kind of says a lot about the market. With that, that is our first two segments. Now into our third segment, and then we're going to wrap up. We're each going to give our MVP of the week, so the player that we thought played best. We'll try to have some parity, but it's tough when it was like this. And then our best moment of the week, be that a play, a celebration, press conference moment, can be anything, just best moment of the week from the team. And I'll let you guys kick this off.
Okay, first of all, you guys are pointing at the wall, not at me. So
yeah, so Sean's just pointing at the wall for me.
I'm like, okay, yeah, this isn't really helping. I don't know who you're pointing at, but I'm gonna say that my player of the week is like Emmitt Finnie. I feel like it makes sense. What's called first goals of his career, and then big wins for him. Again, I've very little to add, but I'd say like my favorite, my highlight moment of the week is Cam Talbot and the Maple Leafs game. Like catching those shots, and I thought that was just a very enjoyable watch. and I was very happy every time that Maple Leafs did not score. It was very relieving, really very nice to see that. Very nice to see not lose. God, dude, I'm gonna pass it on to Shola, dude. I'm not
Very
about.
nice to see them not lose. Can you tell
It's
who
always
goes to
nice to see a
Western?
team not lose, honestly.
Yeah,
Hey,
that,
look.
Stellar
thank you,
analysis.
thank you,
We should just give you the whole hour. It's just like it was.
guys.
They went
The whole
5-0. Nice.
guys, I am not on my A game today. It's my fault.
It's
I'm very
it's it's
tired.
all good. It's all good, Stephon. We all have our
Jeez,
off weeks. Well, we gotta get back
honestly,
next week. Don't worry, we're still in our
guys.
preseason. They're in the regular, so we're in our preseason.
Ah,
We still
yeah.
have
We're
3
still
episodes.
gearing up.
We're still gearing up.
Still
No.
getting used to that. But yeah, Shola, you pass it on. You do it.
Yeah. My week MVP. There's no surprise as I was talking about this guy for the entire episode. It's Dylan Larkin, and it's not even close. Actually, the closest person to Dylan Larkin would be Emmitt Finnie, as Stephon said. But no, it's Dylan Larkin. Like, I think he had what 10 points in these 5 games that we covered this week. Um, that's that's 2 points every game. That's insanity. And we were talking about that depth scoring and how like he's really been producing the most in that whole top line with Finney and Lark and Raymond. I know Raymond's been out half the week, but like he's really been the one who's done he's really been the backbone of this team, and how like they're getting all this scoring is really coming from him. So like I appreciate everything that he's done for this week. Like, I had nothing bad to say about him. I think he was skating the hardest. He's one of the fastest players I've ever seen on the ice. Um, and like, there's nothing bad I can say. Like the Tampa Bay win where he came up in overtime and won. Um, the Edmonton game, 4 points, all 4 goals that the Red Wings scored came from him, and he was involved in it. The Florida game again, I think he either scored, he probably did score, or he assisted. I think he assisted. And then the 2 Toronto games, like there's nothing bad you can say about him. Like he was doing a lot. His defensive work, his offensive work, there's nothing bad I can say about him. So he's my player of the week. And my best moment of the week when I was coming back from home and I was on the train and I was looking at the Red Wings game, the one thing I saw was Emmitt Finney scored his first goal. And me and Alex in that first episode of the podcast talked about in preseason a lot. He was the one that we said was going to make this team. And I was really high on Emmitt Finney, more than I was in MBN, more than I was on ASP. And seeing him score brought a smile to my face, brought tears to my eyes. I was very happy that he scored. So there's nothing like that's probably my best moment. If not, it's probably the Larkin OT goal because that was pretty nice. Like that 1-on-1 that he had with the goalie, one quick move goal. There's no catching him. So those 2 moments I'll say are my moments of the week. And Dylan Larkin, man, he's unbelievable. He's my player of the week.
Yeah, I mean, this week was really Dylan Larkin atoning for the sins of the rest of the roster. I mean, anytime something went wrong, it felt like Dylan Larkin was going to make it back single handedly. And that's not, I don't mean like Dylan Larkin's line or like Dylan Larkin was going to get help. Like it was very much like, okay, Dylan Larkin, go do everything. It was a very like nostalgic performance for me because I remember like the depths of the rebuild when I was like, you know, much younger and watching Detroit games, and you could literally like go on your phone or like start reading a book or something every second Dylan Larkin wasn't on the ice because nothing was happening. That's very much what this game felt like, or this week felt like as a whole. Obviously much better than that. They weren't doing nothing, but if you were looking for a big moment, I mean, every time Larkin was on the ice, like even if you've never watched hockey before, you could very much spot 71 very easily. So I thought it was a big week from him. I do want to give a shout out to Cam Talbot for keeping Detroit in the games. But, 10 points in 5 games is not, respectfully, goalie's not getting it over that kind of offense. And for my moment of the week, I'll give it to ASP. I mean, it was nice to see him get the goal. It's really funny the way that it goes in. He starts celebrating, and then he sees Mason Appleton pointing at him, telling him, like, that's your goal. And then he freaks out. He starts screaming with the fans. He throws his hands up at the boards. They go get the puck, and it's a good moment, good vibes overall. And it was nice that they could get the win for him, and it didn't end up getting pissed away. And yeah, that's our show this week. It was nice to have you with us. It was nice to get a full episode, full week of games, full slate. Next week, I think we have 3 before we're back with you, if I'm not wrong. That heavily depends on what day we get the episode up. So as it's planned, we should have the games in Buffalo, New York, and St. Louis, the first game in St. Louis, before we're back with you. So, fingers crossed that's how things work out. Predictions for the week before we say goodbye to the people.
I'm gonna stay optimistic. It's gonna be it's gonna be a green streak in my opinion.
Okay. I like that. I one would hope. I would hope.
Hey.
I don't think so though.
I'm optimistic. So
I would love to agree with Stefan, but there's no chance.
Yeah.
And again, we could be wrong. We were wrong last week. I think we all said 2-2. Well, okay, we didn't talk about
we
Edmonton
didn't get
game.
this far. We thought we were gonna
because we didn't think we would record on a Monday. But
Monday.
we all said 2-2 of the 4 games that we were talking about, and they went 4-0 plus the Edmonton game 5-0.
Yeah.
So I would love to say 3-0. I'm going to say 2-1. I already gave my ASP prediction with his 2 points. I still stand by that. But I'm going to say 2-1. I'm going to say the game that they lose is against the Sabres. And then I think they bounce back the day after, get a win in New York, and then get a win in St. Louis or at home against St. Louis. So that's that. Hey, one can hope.
Yeah.
One can hope they go 3-0, but I'll take 2-1.
I'm of the same mind. I will definitely, if they get 2 wins out of this week, I'm very happy. If this team is 7-2 by the time we're on here next, we might genuinely start talking about this team being in the playoffs. If Dylan Larkin has something like 6 points, like, you're going to hear a lot of MVP propaganda from us, and it's going to sound ridiculous, but believe me, if Dylan Larkin is anywhere close to MVP or Finnie is anywhere close to Rookie of the Year, feel free to tune in. You're going to hear a lot of propaganda for them getting some awards. I don't know. The Buffalo game feels like a trap game. To be fair, they all feel like a trap game. Like St. Louis, they don't really play well against. Buffalo's always a 50-50 because Tage Thompson is a Red Wing killer to the core. And rookie Matthew Schaefer, anytime Detroit plays a rookie, you might as well pencil them in for a goal. So it's going to be close. I want give me at least 1 win out of this week, and I'll be happy with 6-3. Yeah, that's our show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Any final thoughts from you guys?
I don't know what else to say. I mean, we do appreciate you guys listening. Hopefully next week we can get more contributions from Stefan.
guys, it's been a very rough week for me, and it's not getting any better. So
I was just saying, his midterms for all of us. I actually have.
Yeah,
I don't have any this week. Actually, that's not true.
Honestly, I have 3 midterms on the recording days that we actually might have to do. So if I miss next week, don't kill me.
Shocker. Yeah, we're just gonna end up doing it on like a Monday again or something.
Yeah,
most likely.
We're probably gonna have to record on a Monday, but they don't play until the Tuesday, so we'll be fine.
Yeah,
We'll actually be fine.
We'll be good.
We kind of we got away with it this week too. So we're just gonna keep like falling upwards to get these episodes out. So thankfully we're new and none of you are like that dedicated to this where you guys would be mad. So if you see this stuff, you say,
God, bro, holy shit. That would
Yeah. Imagine we have tens of thousands of people listening and we're just missing episodes on the I'd be good.
If we get to tens of thousands of people listening, we're putting a Patreon up in like 2 seconds. are you high? Like, if we even get like 100 people consistently listening, there's going to be a Patreon up. Anyways, just some housekeeping things. This episode might be up on YouTube. It might not. Don't go searching for it. But yeah, we are available on pretty much anything that RSS carries. So Apple, Spotify, Tidal, if anyone uses that. And yeah, we'll either be on YouTube for this episode or the next one. So if you want to show some love there, see us in person. And we are probably going to be changing our show logo soon. So don't be alarmed. It's going to look a little cleaner than this one does. And yeah, it's a wrap on this, and we'll get back to you sometime in the next 7 days. It might not be a calendar week, but you know, we'll be recapping some games for you, and you know, lots of love from all three of us. And yeah, we hope you guys have a good week. So, and again, they're signing off. They can't fucking see you, Brandon.
Hey, you know what? No, it might be on YouTube. You can't say that anymore.
This was
Yeah,
the last episode. As we're signing off, the two of them start waving at the camera.
I know.
saying
You
bye.
see, that one was that we were
just-
idiots.
They
That
knew
one.
it,
This
they
one
knew.
might be on YouTube.
Might be. Okay. Well, ciao, guys. Thanks for being here, and you know, we hope to see you next week again.